Maurice's letters are chatty and gossipy and filled with Greene County names. He asked after his O'Brien cousins, Holly Horn from Scranton, Virgil Nally and Virgil's sister Eileen, his day relatives including Earl and Annabelle, his good friends Jim Carney and Jim's sister Kay, and Kay's husband Ernie Phillips, a girl named Helen Hunt, who I never could figure out who that was, and his old pals Shane Bruner and Leo Day, who were eventually killed in the Pacific Theater. He lists the names of girlfriends and army buddies who need to be informed if he doesn't make it. My dad, in his letters, asks after his post office friends, including Doug Schreiber, and tells his parents that he has had letters from Postmistress Lily B. Gibbons and co-worker Winnie Doherty. Maurice was an Army Master Sergeant who had served in the Aleutian Islands before being sent to Europe. I always get this upside down. There's Maurice. He was in the Aleutians, and then he was sent to the European theater in the fall of 1944. He was wounded in the Battle of the Bulge and earned a Bronze Star Medal for his bravery, although I have no idea of what that event was, how brave he was, but got the medal. And this is what I learned about my dad. He died at 56 on a bluff above the Raccoon River west of town. And my uncle, a handsome Irish bachelor, who died in 1953 at the age of 40 of leukemia. They were farm boys who served their country during their mid to late 20s, sons who loved their parents and weren't hesitant to express their affection. Both were graduates of Willow Township's one-room country store and of Scranton High School. Each had a really good command of grammar and the English language. They knew how to use apostrophes. And like most members of the armed forces, they were extremely interested in food. In a February 17, 1945 letter from Belgium, Maurice wrote, "I must sign off, my darling mother. I'm hungry. I guess I'll open a can of ration. Lord, I'd like about a quart of good sweet milk and about a dozen of your donuts." Clem, in a letter from somewhere in France, writes on August 21st, 1944, asking his mother to send delicacies that would supplement his army chow. The things I would like to have most are small cans of stuff such as sardines, pickles, Kraft cheese, anchovies, peanuts, and other things of that order. Anything to vary the monotony of the army diet. Maurice, the older son, was devoted to his mother, and in one letter addresses her as Margaret Neal, and in other exhorts her not to worry, jotting down, "I'll be all right," even as his outfit toiled through the winter war in Belgium and France in late 1944 and early 1945. Clem was his father's son, of course, but both were fine athletes and interested in politics, and Clem often asks his father for scores of Jefferson Rambler and Notre Dame football games, and for thoughts on local and national elections, including Franklin Roosevelt's run for a fourth term as president in the November 1944 election. He wrote from France on election day. "Today is election day. According to the reports here, Roosevelt is a big favorite, but I expect it to be close." Well, it wasn't, as we know. FDR got a landslide and with 432 electoral votes, and Thomas Dewey got 99. Dewey, of course, won Iowa. And then Dad goes on, "Will Gillette be reelected? I doubt it very much." The Democrat Guy Gillette was a U.S. Senator who served from 1936 to 1944, but he was defeated by, I love the name, Bork B. Hickenlooper, who served as a senator from Iowa until 1969. Clem goes on, "Well, Dad, Notre Dame sure took it on the chin Saturday. I guess maybe hit their stride for about the first time this season, too. Army will be tough this week. See where Iowa finally won a game. How is Jeff coming? Did they finish undefeated? Haven't seen a Herald for months, so I don't know much about them." he enclosed a couple of poems that he copied from an anthology of verse, including Baseball's Sad Lexicon, a famous poem about the Chicago Cubs that I'm sure you all know and maybe have even tried to recite. These are the saddest of possible words, tinkered to Evers to chance. About the infield. I tried to memorize her. More than 60 years on, Dad's letters are informative and interesting. They include descriptions of English chapels and castles and a drawing of the nave of Notre Dame in Paris, where he attended a mass and heard Cardinal Spellman of New York give a sermon. That's my dad in Paris, buddy. And I think that man is from around here, and they ran into each other on a Paris street, and the fellow on the left just shouted out, "O'Brien!" And so they had dinner and a couple drinks. I'm sure. Dad continues to write about going to Mass at Notre Dame. The interior was filled to overflowing, hundreds of soldiers, nurses, and WACs being present in addition to all the French civilians. The music was lovely, an all-male choir, superbly trained, and a wonderful pipe organ. The Archbishop, too, has a very good voice. It was the first high Mass I had heard since leaving the States, and it all made a very deep impression on me. Of course, he would write that kind of thing to his mother, probably. High above the altar flew several American flags, flared by the tricolor of France and the Cross of Lorraine. The Cross of Lorraine was the Free French flag. The Free French were led by General Charles de Gaulle. After Mass, we took a jeep ride around Paris. The streets were full of people, and a happier, more enthusiastic crowd would be hard to find. To stop was to be immediately surrounded by a throng of men, women, and children. Usually someone among them spoke a little English. They were all eager to know how we liked Paris, what we thought of France, where we lived in the States, and if we knew any cowboys and Indians. A letter from Maurice in 1945, sometime in early 1945 from Belgium, where he was wounded. There he is. And it looks to me like he's on a ship, but maybe he was on a hospital ship in Paris. I don't know that. He writes, "It's sure too bad about Chang Bruner and Leo Day. The Philippine show was no cinch, that's for sure. This bulge crap, the Battle of the Bulge, was no pushover either. I suppose Virgil Nally, who was Paul Nally's older brother, is on Iwo Jima, and that's a rough show too." Maurice finally told his mother and father about being wounded in a letter he wrote on May 1st from 1945 from Paris, where he was hospitalized. "No, I didn't make it to the Rhine. We were about halfway through the Siegfried line when I got it. A rifle bullet through the left thigh. Didn't hit the bone, but did hit an artery, and a section of it had to be removed. About a 19-inch incision and with something like 100 stitches. So, darlings, it's fini de guerre for me, as the French say, for your oldest son. Incidentally, my luck ran out on March 2nd, and I don't know why you haven't heard from the War Department. I'm still on crutches. Maybe by the time I get home, I'll have a cane." And there he is. It's practically the same picture.
I thought it was just
all of this.
took out the
Young boys, young men, wounded. My dad got leave to go to Paris from England to see Maurice, and I think they had a very good time. This is what he wrote to his mother, however. Went on a Red Cross tour with Clem, and of course said a Hail Mary at Notre Dame. Saw the Statue of Liberty in the Seine, identical to the one in New York Harbor, only not so high. Well, darlings, now don't worry. Think of it as I do. I'm damned lucky, for I have both arms and legs and no scars that will show. My dad wrote a letter shortly after that Maurice letter was written, and he said, "I wish you could see Maurice as he is now. He certainly is a fine example of the American fighting man. I know guys like him are the reason for Germany being where she is now. Looks like it's almost over here. Hope I get home, but probably the Pacific for me. That letter was written on May 5th, and as we know, we just celebrated the victory in Europe was May 8th. He goes on, Maurice hates the Germans. Out of his platoon of 39 men that hit the line in December, there are only 8 left. There were only 8 left when he was hit. I know he doesn't want any of this pathological sympathetic treatment when he gets home. Just listen to him and ask questions. And then he adds a postscript. I just got through to the hospital, and they told me that Maurice left for the States yesterday. He should be there by now and home within a week. Maurice did get home. Dad didn't have to go to the Pacific. He got home to my mom and my sister Colleen and me, and the parents he loved so much. The last letter he wrote, the last letter that I found was a letter to me, a B-mail written from England in September of 1945. By the time this reaches you, your 3rd birthday will almost be here. I had hoped so much to be home with you, your mother, and Colleen for the great event. It appears now that I shan't be, so I will have to give you a big hug and a kiss by V-mail and plan at least being home for Colleen's birthday, which was 2 weeks after mine. Irish twins. I have a little present for each of you, which I will deliver in person. We expect to leave here for Southampton tomorrow or Monday. With good luck and a fast ship, it is still conceivable that I'll make it by the 16th, my birthday. I will go to St. Louis and from there home, so it doesn't look as though I'll be coming home from Hiawatha after all. Goodbye for now, Dee, and look after your mom and little sis till I get home. Your loving dad, Clem. Probably most of you know that the Hiawatha, the train, was a big maroon and orange streamliner. And every day my grandpa Frank Aubrey and Perry, where my sister and my mom and I were staying after Dad was shipped overseas, my grandpa would take me down to see the Hiawatha come in about 4 in the afternoon. And I know he took me down there because he thought my dad would be coming in on it. But of course, I didn't know it was like that great big orange and maroon train. I think of my grandparents living on West Lincoln Way after losing their Willow Township in the Depression. In 1930, their youngest son Frankie had died out on the farm, and now their 2 living sons were in harm's way halfway around the world. Grandpa Tom and Grandma May were stalwart, hard-working people, devout Catholics, and the children of Irish immigrants. Both were in their 60s while their sons served in Europe. They must have been so fearful. Like the other families of so many World War II veterans, our family prospered and had a safe and comfortable life with houses, washers, dryers, college educations. And it was all because of those men, and women too, who gave that world to us and saved the world for all of us. If you have any questions or memories you'd like to share, let's go. Oh yeah, you don't have to do this. This is Maurice, this is my Grandma May, and my Grandpa Tom. There. I think I look like I'm about 2 years old. And I'm sure this was when Maurice was transferred from the Aleutians, got to come home, and then went overseas. So there I am in my general house. And I'm Grandpa Frank on the in Perry. That's it. Wow. Yes? Would you like to come up here? Okay.
Many of you know that my dad was Bill O'Brien, and he had the O'Brien Shoe Store.
But they spelled their O'Brien wrong.
O-B-R-Y-A-N hers was Obrien. So anyway, my dad was too young to get into the service. And so he lied about his age in order to get in. And he was also too skinny. He did not have enough weight on him. I don't know what the minimum weight was, but he didn't make it. And so he ate 3 pounds of bananas right before he got weighed, just so that he could make it into the Army. Or actually it was the Navy, because he heard they made more money than he was making at his current job. And one of the stories that he told us, like I said, he served in the Navy and he was on a submarine. And because he was so skinny, he and one other guy who were really small, their job was to climb up into the round area where the